Welcome to Confessions of a Terrible Leader, where real leaders share the raw truth about the lessons they learned the hard way so you don't have to. Join our host, Layci Nelson, founder of Transcend Leadership Collective and former terrible leader. Every leader can become worthy of being followed if they are willing to put in the work. On this podcast, we share the messy stories and behind-the-scenes reality of what the work actually entails. We welcome you to this community of revolutionary leaders who believe honest communication, healthy conflict, and building cultures of acceptance, respect, and trust are not only possible, but non-negotiable for cultivating world-class teams.
Welcome back to Confessions of a Terrible Leader. I'm your host, Layci Nelson, former terrible leader, here to give you just a quick one today, quick little nugget to think about. I was just talking with our amazing Mary Scott podcast producer, also a professional musician, and we were talking about how well having a background in performance serves us in business. And I wanted to share this little thought we were going back and forth with today and figure out where you might have some limitations in your, like, oh, how can I apply this? How can I apply what is true about performance and theater and music to business? And what the heck is she going to say? Well, let's get into it. Okay, so when you're in theater or music, and I did both growing up, there's the times where you are mid-performance and you forget a line, or you screw up the piece. I was a singer, so I maybe missed some notes, or my timing was off, or, there's a million ways this can go wrong, right? However, what happens is when this is going on, you don't get to stop. You don't get to stop in the middle and say, oh, excuse me, everyone, entire cast, we're going to start from the top of Act 1, Scene 4. Let's reset. You don't get that luxury. You have to figure out how to keep going and how to essentially build the plane on the way to the ground. In performance, it's how do you keep that going? How do you keep the performance going and make adjustments in real time with all the eyes on you? All the eyes on you. They're literally here to watch you do this thing and keep it moving and not fall apart and communicate through eyeballs and gestures and minute shrugs that people that aren't in your seat or aren't on the stage with you aren't picking up on. But you're getting everybody back on track because you screwed up, but you're doing it in the moment and you just keep going. If that's not a metaphor for like running a business, I do not know what is. A metaphor, analogy, analogous? I don't know. If it's not one of those things, I don't know what it is. It is such a beautiful illustration of what we do when we're in leadership, when we are especially in the ownership seat of an organization or in like the buck stops here seat of an organization. We are constantly having to make adjustments and, build something while we're in movement and have that communication where, we don't exactly know how this is going to come out at the end, but it's going to be successful. We're not going to crash and burn. We're going to figure out how to land this thing. So here's what's also really, really interesting that we were thinking through with each other. I know it's overused, I think, but if you have not read The Man in the Arena poem, Google that, read it. Here's the thing. You got to figure out how to move through being a leader without getting overly distracted by people on the sidelines. Because the people on the sidelines that have never been in your shoes, have never been leading or running an organization or doing the things that you're doing, they're going to have a whole lot of opinions, some of them. And they're going to be really loud about why what you're doing is the right way or the wrong way. But here's the thing. They're not going anywhere. You can't be like, I'm going to cut them out of my life. Okay, there's still going to be, the more visible you become, the more successful you become, the more you put yourself out there and are vulnerable, which are all required for growth, the more naysayers are going to come your way. I will tell you right now, there definitely are people that do not agree with my approach, and they have all kinds of opinions about it. But here's the difference. The ones that don't agree with my approach, they're still rooting for me as a person. The ones that are farther ahead in this than I am in this business game, they are still cheering for me. They're not wishing my demise. They might be like, that's not how I approach. I don't agree with your approach, but I want your success. And I'm not going to criticize you as a human, criticize the steps that you're taking in a way that is dehumanizing and, essentially a punch. I'm going to be watching you and going, all right, you're finding your footing. They're cheering for me. I'm watching you. If you are on your way up, I am cheering for you. You might make some missteps. You're going to. You might do things differently than I'm going to do, but I want you to succeed. If you are not causing harm with your ideology, I want success for you. I want you to win. It's the people that are coming from a place of perhaps they have not been brave enough to put themselves out there, but they're going to have a lot of opinions about how you're doing it. That's what we have to ignore. That's what we have to learn to not give any weight to. So what I'm saying is not revolutionary. You have heard this before, but I want you to internalize it. Maybe today's the day you're going to go, you know what? This is the year. This is the year that I am going to really be intentional about no longer getting distracted by the people on the sidelines. And I know you want that. I know you want that. I know you want that because the content that we put out that is the heaviest on talking about don't beg for a seat at tables you'd actually rather flip. That gets huge engagement because it resonates, because it hits something in you that you're like, yes, I want that for myself. It also resonates when we are communicating that you absolutely need to stop giving people rent-free space in your head. We all have a couple voices. I know we do. That we have to learn to filter out those internal voices that wear the costumes of people in our lives that have not rooted for us, that have been hurtful, that we maybe want to prove wrong. But we cannot give that an unhealthy amount of attention. It's distracting and it's not fuel that lasts. So I encourage you, stop trying to get the respect or the approval of people that you actually don't respect and or you don't want to swap places with. You don't want their life. If you don't want their life, you don't need their approval. So that's the energy. That's the stance. I want you to take that to heart. If you don't want their life, stop looking for their approval. You're not going to get it. And remember, people doing more than you they're cheering for you. People that are doing more than you are at a different place in life, in business, they want the best for you. They want you to succeed. Take those things to heart. Think about how they fit together. I'll tell you, I spent a whole lot of years, a decade probably, a decade, way too concerned about the people on the sidelines, way too concerned with quote unquote, earning approval and respect from people that I actually would never want to trade lives with, that I did not have core value alignment with. Yet for some reason I needed them to give me the thumbs up. Gotta let that go. Let that go. Really recognize when you're doing it and make the decision to not use that as a barometer for how well you're doing or not doing, or if you need to change course. That should have no sway in your life. All right, that's what I got for you. Core value alignment. If you don't have it with a person that has all kinds of opinions about you, It doesn't matter what their opinions are. And if you don't want their life, you don't need to give any weight to their opinions. Stop being distracted by people on the sidelines. It's stealing energy. When I say energy, it's not woo-woo energy. It's like literal mental, emotional capacity and energy that you could be applying somewhere else. It's stealing energy from your family. It's stealing energy that you could be spending with your kids. It's stealing energy you could be putting towards growing the people that report to you, growing your organization. It takes an immense amount of emotional, spiritual, physical, even bandwidth to hold on to resentment like that. Let it go. Release it. All right, my friends. Don't do what I did. 10 years is too long. Please, please, please start working on it today. And until next time, go manage like a leader.
Thanks for being part of this community of revolutionary leaders who believe honest communication, healthy conflict, and building cultures of acceptance, respect, and trust are not only possible, but non-negotiable for cultivating world-class teams. If one-to-one coaching, engaging workshops, or strategic planning that is actually useful are anything that interests you, make sure to head over to www.transcendleadershipcollective.com to check out our free resources. Confessions of a Terrible Leader is hosted by Layci Nelson and produced by Mary Scott. Music is by Leif Olson and Mary Scott from the band The Number of Months. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, go manage like a leader.